Hey everyone, I hope you're taking it easy and your day has been great thus far. For this video we'll be continuing through our progressive retrospective review of Imperium with issue number 25. Issue 25 basically came out in the early part of 2023, so we definitely have a lot of issues to still go through, which is fine. But if we're at issue 25, we're probably less than a quarter, because there wasn't 100 issues, there was only 90 odd, but probably a bit more than a third. Anyway, doesn't matter. Front of issue number 25, so sporting a nice image of the Necrons, specifically a Necron Immortal, and I know I've said this countless times, it's definitely interesting to see how the visual aesthetic has evolved over the years. Especially when I first saw the Necrons back in the mid to late 90s. And that wasn't even the very first iteration either. So as for this issue, what do we have? So we'll have the 5 Immortal miniatures to have a quick look at. So there'll obviously be the how to build, how to paint. There'll be some information about the Adeptus Mechanicus Forge worlds, and some new data sheets and tutorials included. So that is the start of issue 25. Going inside, so the contents page here. So Necron Immortals, as we expected, there will be some story information, and then the build and how to paint. And in terms of the playthrough side of things, it does seem somewhat Immortal themed. So, some story information about the Immortals, the types of weapons they have, the Gauss Blaster, Tesla Carbine, things like that. Always nice to get some information about them, and as I said, they have changed their visual aesthetic over the years. Battle record, which is pretty much a stock standard item when they introduce these miniatures, so there'll be obviously bits for unit names, glyphs, damage, things like that. Basically some extra information to make your unit a little bit more unique. Information about the Royal Court, Overlords and Lords, the Royal Wardens, the Lich Guard. I'm also trying to get used to a number of these different characters, given back in the day the only thing I really was aware of was the Necron Lord and the Staff of Light. Then we have the Cryptex between the Technomancers, the Plasmancers, the Chronomancers, and the Psychomancers. Yes, so a lot of interesting character models these days. For the Necrons, some of which have been included as part of Imperium. In terms of the story, rule of the Imperium, I never read through these, but obviously there's some interesting information here. What do we have here? Senatorum Imperialis, the Adeptus Mechanicus, Cult Imperialis, the Adeptus Administratum. So obviously it's, information about the Imperium itself, its government system, I dare say. Ultramarines, who I'm sure are going to get a flurry of activity when I'm recording this. Always nice to see some information about the Ultramarines and Ultramar, and just some more information here as well. How to build, so this is pretty much how to build the 5 Immortals that are included. Like with all Necron models, I try and keep them in isolation from each other because they do seem to have some very specific fitting and matching with each body part. Maybe not so much the legs, but the upper body sure will. So we'll have the 5 of those on the 32mm basis. How to paint them based on the paints that we have already received. Starting with Rune Lord Brass, going into Abaddon Black, some of those details. Lead Belcher, Null Oil, it's always handy to have. Canoptic Alloy and Corax White. Now, obviously, we're still sans some colours, e.g. green, so pretty much what you would get to per what paints have been provided by issue 25. So, a lot of the detailing and base paints are still there, but not quite parade ready. Information about the Royal Warden and the Immortals. Now, once again, I don't think these were necessarily 10th edition. I've said it a few times in previous Imperium magazines just because of the reference to power and I dare say maybe how some of the actual data sheets have been done. It could be tail end of night. I wasn't playing at that point in time. Quick tutorial, some rules, how to play Warhammer 40,000. Yeah, I'm not going to get into that. And then we do have something I can't remember what those things are called. We have a thing. The thing that is in front of me, a thing that I am waving at, the thing that I can't seem to give a proper name to. The battle thingy. You know what? Never mind. We have a vague idea what I'm trying to get at. I'm just not doing it very well. Anyway, Necrons, Space Marines, of course. Mission. Ha ha ha. There we go. Finally. So we have a mission here. Secure the mission. So it actually won't go through into an actual playthrough, but it'll just give you the actual mission briefing, what's required, and how to basically set it up. So that's actually not too bad. It's a shame. I quite enjoyed some of the playthrough stuff, but we are moving through the issues. Your typical Imperium page on basically what's included. Coming soon, or pretty much came. Issue 26, so we do go back to a Adeptus Mechanicus model, which does look very, very cool. In fact, I've had a conversation with someone recently at work about it, and I said, whilst I'll never do an AdMech army, I will admit their aesthetic, very cool. And then for issue 27, if I can get this into view, it looks like we'll have a piece of terrain here, very AdMech here. The Hemotrope reactor, and there will obviously be some story information, etc. as we get to issue 27. Now, issue 27 will obviously be the end of a subscription bundle, because they came in 4 issues. So what will then happen is I'll do the usual costing summary for 27. That's the 2 issues time. So that was what issue 25 was. When my camera would like to behave, which it was not. We do get this little fold cut out, the marches, or march to war. So obviously information about the Adeptus Mechanicus, it will fold out quite nicely. So some information about the Forge world. I guess this middle section, which probably won't be in the camera view very well, is pretty much how they, I guess, do their actual not doing very well with words today, how they actually do their command force type breakdowns and things like that, which is interesting. Might have the Adeptus Mechanicus, so we do have some nice images here. Now, as I have said before, they do have a very interesting visual aesthetic, but for me, probably not something I would actively pursue in. But it's definitely going to be nice that I will have some thanks to the magazine subscription. In terms of everything else that was included, there was obviously 5 of these. I'm not going to have all 5 out, but you can imagine what they all look like. That times 5. And then lastly, the fun piece, the actual runner for the Immortals. So everything is here by the looks of things. We do have some different weapon configurations attached, so we obviously have some weapons here. I do not remember what is what, but you can obviously tell that they have different weapon profiles. We obviously have some more up here as well, and then over here. So yes, definitely be a case of having to pick which weapon loadout you wish to give to the squad. And then here we just have pretty much the legs and the main torsos. Definitely not too bad. So that is pretty much the runner. Very cool. Okay. So, bring that back in. So that will bring us to the end of the retrospective walkthrough of Imperium issue number 25. Was nice to see what's included in these magazines. Obviously the main factor is the included models, so it is nice to get a squad of Immortals. Haven't started painting anything. Time is just terrible, but we'll get there eventually, hopefully. Thank you very much for watching this video. Feel free to do the usual like, comment, subscribe if you enjoy the content. It does help support the channel. I do appreciate it. Feel free to check my Instagram and the community tab for some extra bits and pieces, whether it's 40k or something else that I'm working on. There's enough plastic hobbies to last a lifetime here. With that being said, stay safe, take care, and I'll catch you all hopefully in next week's video, which will actually be next week, or something else on the channel. See ya.